Who is Carm Grasso? I'm a guitarist, composer, and recording artist based in the US. I've been playing since I was 13 years old, so it's been quite some time. And over those years, I've had a lot of experience across the board in all things guitar. Definitely have focused a lot on electric, do some acoustic and flamenco type stuff as well. But anything that's high energy, anything that has a hook, I'm always very interested in writing a song that, even if it's in an instrumental song, that has all of those elements involved. So it can be an enjoyable experience for the listener and hopefully memorable, more than just a bunch of riffs. When I started playing guitar at age 13, I remember thinking to myself, I always knew that I wanted to play. There was never a question about that. And I remembered listening to some of my 80s hard rock albums, wishing I could play along with the songs. And eventually I got to that point, and I accelerated pretty quickly. Even maybe had an opportunity to pursue music full-time in the way of a college degree and that type of thing, but I went another path. But I've always had that passion. And through the years, I've really focused in a lot on original material with bands like Third Wonder, Fear of Flying, which is upstate New York progressive rock powerhouse. A little plug there. I've worked with other artists like Terrell Ashby, who's a good friend of mine and a great songwriter, on his album Simpatico. And I also released an album called Soul Stealer, which was my first instrumental album quite a while ago now. So I'm excited to be able to announce that I have a new project called Mixed Signals. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. My early inspiration and influences really came from a couple guitar players. I always knew that I wanted to play guitar, and I was very focused in on all things rock. And I think when I started high school, I remember a friend of mine gave me a cassette tape, and it was actually Ozzy Osbourne, Blizzard of Oz. And I heard this guitar player on there, and I thought, who is this person? I want to be able to play like this. And it was Randy Rhoads. So for me, Randy Rhoads and that modal style of playing with some of the neoclassical feel and those influences in there, that was really something that really caught my ear, and I really focused in a lot on not necessarily always learning all of the songs, but the style and the inspiration that from which he drew. I then really got into players like Yngwie Malmsteen, who everybody knows. If you're a guitar player, you know Yngwie is the neoclassical king of shred guitar. And then also I started to really gain an appreciation for players like George Lynch and a bunch of others. The thing with George for me has always been a big influence, as he would be able to meld the blues along with some of the more technical techniques that were around back in the 80s during the shred guitar heyday. So I really like his guttural, and really I like the way that he plays is just for me one of the ultimate things. Later on, I got into players like Satriani, Vai, Petrucci, and others within the vein of the Guitar Hero type of influence and music, and that's what I love. In the way of a style, when I'm putting a song together, it's quite interesting because I don't necessarily think of a song like I have it all in my head when I start. But regardless of how it comes together, for me, when I'm putting something together, I want it to be memorable. Having grown up in an era where there were a ton of great, awesome players, again, Satriani, Vai, Lynch, and they're still around, Van Halen, all of these players, I think the thing that sets just a shredder apart from a songwriter is, can you write a song? I remember back in the day, there were a lot of great solos, but was the song always there? So when I'm approaching writing a song and I'm doing it in an instrumental way or in that vein, I'm always thinking about, is there a memorable melody here? Is there a hook? Is there something that the listener's going to remember, as opposed to me just shredding, which is fun, but you kind of want to be able to say, this is a moment in time, this is something memorable, here's a melody, here's a song structure that you're going to remember. Because in a lot of ways with some of the instrumental material that I'm doing, I'm replacing those vocal lines with guitars, so it needs to be memorable. That's always my focus. And I certainly have songs where I'm just shredding the whole time, and that's great. But the truth is that after a couple minutes, nobody wants to hear you shred for 20 minutes in a row. You got to have some kind of variance in your playing and something memorable. What makes me want to shred? I love anything high energy guitar rock. And of course, I certainly love, being able to juxtapose that against like something, maybe some passages in a song that are softer, more melodic. And then there's the high impact, high energy element of being able to shred. And like I said, there's a time and place. Just like when you're speaking to someone, you're going to have inflections in your voice. You're going to approach things differently. You want to vary your playing. For me, the shred piece of it has to be high energy and very impactful. So when I listen to players like Tony McAlpine, Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, and I hear some inventive playing, and I hear them playing, not only with technique but with feel. That's what makes me want to shred. It gives me a bolt of energy, a bolt of excitement, and it really motivates me to want to be a better player. Definitely check out Carm Grasso online. You can go to my website, carmgrassomusic.com, to learn a little bit more about me and some of the releases I've been involved in. And if you look up Carm Grasso, you're going to see my music listed on iTunes, Amazon, CD Baby, basically all of the download sites, as well as on the streaming services. So please, whether it be Soul Stealer or in this case Mix Signals, look up Carm Grasso and you can hear some of the different stuff I've done. I hope you like it, and check it out.